Well, hi everyone. I'm John Reckland with a retro review of WCW Nitro from July 3rd, 2000. It's a go-home Nitro for Bash at the Beach 2000. And Ernest Miller is still the on-air authority figure. It's catastrophic. Do you get it? He's Ernest the Cat Miller. Do you get it? Yes, it's a terrible joke, I admit, but I know all about terrible jokes. So, Ernest Miller literally phoned in his role. Alan Hale literally phoned in his role here. This was not good. Ernest Miller's on the phone, trying to find out a whole, bunch of stuff like, what do I do for the show? I want to get big ratings, all this. Mike Awesome says, hey, by the way, did you get that? Did you get that thing? You get that thing I sent you? And he wanted a bunch of ambulances outside. Why? Because he's going to lay people out to face Scott Steiner or to prepare to face Scott Steiner, rather, at Bash at the Beach 2000. Oh boy. It wasn't the only career killer thing that they had for Mike Awesome, because then they came up with the Fat Chick Thriller and that 70s guy. Tank Abbott then shows up as a DJ. Have I mentioned how much I hate this show? I absolutely hate this show. WCW 2000 was in the goddamn toilet despite the talents that they had. 3 Count is also here. And Tank doesn't want them to talk. He wants them to dance and sing, and then the Young Dragons show up. Shane Helms seems to get injured, holding his arm and everything, so Tank Abbott jumps in. And yeah, I'd be a little bit fearful of a guy that can hit like a goddamn freight train. And he ends up hitting one punch on Jimmy Gang. More covers, 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's your lot. This was not a very good episode. Have I mentioned that? Have I mentioned how WCW 2000 was in the goddamn toilet yet? I probably need to mention that about 50 million more times, but we don't have enough time for me to say that. So, yeah, everyone arrives. Well, Goldberg and then Nash, and then we find out more stuff about them a little bit later. Mike Awesome throws a guy through a table, power bombs him, so he's away in an ambulance, hence all the ambulances being there. Outsiders video package interrupted by Goldberg. He runs everybody down, says he carried his company on his back for 2 years, and then you stupidly put your arm through a goddamn limo window, you fucking idiot. And Goldberg's a really, really good guy as far as stuff that he does outside of wrestling, but as tough as he is, trying to put your arm through a fucking window by doing that is stupid. And here's Nash, and he doesn't want to wait till for his life to be over. Boy, I hate that fucking song. Love the first season, 2 seasons of Dawson's Creek, though. Moving on from that, Nash doesn't want to wait till Bash at the Beach. He wants Goldberg now. Miller separates them. Awesome lays out another member of R&B security. He might have laid out more, but he laid out at least one and put him in an ambulance. Because reasons, we are hyping up this match against Scott Steiner. And then Terry Funk versus Johnny the Bull. It starts in the back where Terry Funk says, I'm going to be your opponent and teach him a lesson, this kind of stuff. And into the crowd. Top rope leg drop by Johnny the Bull. Very impressive. Somebody had to point out to me what else he did in wrestling. I totally forgot that he was Relic, which is killer spelled backwards. Remember when Impact said that about 20 million times and we all got sick of it? Wonder what else he did in wrestling after that. DDT onto the chair, sort of, for 3. So Terry Funk's all proud. His protege is ready to face Big Vito for the Hardcore Championship. Then we get footage of, them going through rehearsals, Asia and the Demon, and Asia walks by some of the pyro, and the pyro goes off and hurts her, and she's taken to the hospital. So Torborg is here to get his stuff, and then he's going to go back to the hospital to see Asia. It's hard to fit a whole country, or a whole continent, rather, in a goddamn hospital, but somehow they managed to do it. I would love to know what kind of hospital that was. Then Torborg gets his demon gear from somebody. It turns out to be Vampiro, but there's another hooded guy behind him. It's clearly Sting. It's Sting. It's goddamn Sting. And then Goldberg yells at Miller. He wants to get Nash. And then O'Hare and Jindrak base Lash LaRue and Hugh Morris. The Misfits in Action, a.k.a. Corporal Cajun, and General Rection. Get it? Dick jokes. No Laughing Matter pins Jindrak, because there really wasn't much of note with this. And then the Perfect Event attack, hitting everybody with their goddamn sticks, just brutalizing everybody with their big black sticks, which does sound kind of inappropriate. It's the Lexi bar, where they do the thing, and they flex it, and stuff like that. And I don't know what that accent was. But then everyone attacks them afterwards. Great, cool. We're having exercise equipment as weapons, and we're having everybody just human centipede together in random segments. Then Nash threatens to murder Ernest Miller backstage if he doesn't make the match against Goldberg. Then Miller's on the phone and says, I got an idea. If the idea isn't for him to leave television, then there's something wrong. Here's Jeff Jarrett. And he recounts Hogan's history and brings in some women dressed as Vikings, kind of like that, like opera Vikings, like that Bugs Bunny Spear and Magic Helmet thing. Kill the Wabbit, kill the Wabbit. One of the best Looney Tunes episodes ever. And they sing because they're going to wish Hogan a happy retirement. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye. This actually was allowed on a wrestling program. Kevin Nash, being out there to powerbomb everybody probably would have been better. He should have powerbombed the censorship guy, even though he wasn't part of this. Jeff Jarrett laid out a censorship guy because he was trying to get this cut off. Great, cool, whatever. Jeff Jarrett thought that he was a main eventer. Jeff Jarrett wasn't even the best Impact World Champion or TNA World Heavyweight Champion in the company's history. Like, not even close. Nothing to do with the cumulative days. He was not even the best champion in his own company that he ran. This was soul-suckingly bad. I felt bad for the women. Why was this allowed on a wrestling program? And then Miller got booed heavily and says, hey, how about a battle royal? It's going to be 18 other guys and then Nash and Goldberg. You can fight through those guys. You can have each other. And he even said, make whoopee in the middle of the ring. I don't care. Miller, what is with you? Oh... And then Kanyon attacks Booker before his match. And Shane Douglas versus Booker T. The sloppiest bookend ended this. It was fucking rotten. It was so fucking rotten. So fucking terrible. You want to watch one of the worst finishes? I mean, it was Shane Douglas who was wiped out by this point. It was fucking bad. Kanyon then attacks. And then that's it. We think the music queued up wrong. So maybe we're thinking DDP is coming back soon. Not yet. He is coming back soon, though. And then the Demon's backstage in his gear. And then we get Miller yelling at everybody, saying you got to keep Goldberg and Nash separated in this battle royal. Then the Demon versus Vampiro. A bunch of hooded guys show up. Just a bunch of random hooded guys point their bats and everything. Vampiro gets distracted. The Demon hits some kind of finisher. 1, 2, 3. And then the hooded guys are all around pointing their bats, in the ring at Vampiro. And then the lights go out and he disappears. Oh, God, it just keeps getting worse. Miller yells at the locker room, and they revolt by basically kicking him out. They're saying, you're not the boss of us. That comes back into play a little bit later. David and Daphne David's trying to convince Daphne that Hancock means nothing to him. Miss Hancock, that is, a.k.a. Stacy Keibler. And then Hancock's in the ring. And then Crowbar interrupts her dancing and holds her hostage on a chair and says, well, David's two-timing with you, and you tried to hurt Daphne, and I don't want Daphne to be hurt. So then he threatens to shave her. No, not like that. Or maybe like that. And then David Arquette. David Flair shows up. It would have been more interesting if David Arquette actually showed up. David Flair shows up, hits Crowbar with a chair a couple times, and then they start to shave Daphne's head and then place the clippers in Crowbar's hand, and he's all confused and everything. She's all confused. Because they're just coming to, and she thinks he did it, but he didn't, obviously. And then, Crowbar was then laid out by Mike Awesome and taken to the hospital. Then Tigress is flirting with Ernest Miller. Again, I ask why this was put on television. Oh, to distract from the fact that the Filthy Animals are out here impersonating Lance Storm and Billy Kidman. And then we have a match with Kidman and Storm versus Kidman and Storm, Ray and Hoovy. And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Disco threw a chair in the ring. Ray hit a top rope bulldog, 1, 2, 3. And then Miller, because no outside interference, Miller didn't see it, so he can't call it. Then Vampiro says he will face the Demon in a graveyard match. And it was right here that I remembered why I hate Bash at the Beach 2000. Mike Awesome then points to somebody with a poster, says, you with the poster. I am not a mullet, you're the mullet. Maybe it was a good thing that Mike Awesome never cut promos. Says he will face Scott Steiner, and he isn't there. He gets a count-out victory, and then Rick Steiner shows up and beats him up a bit and says, oh, you need to make sure none of the Steiners are here. It's like, you don't like me, bite me. Whatever. The music budget ran out because Nash's Titantron thing was playing while Ernest Miller is yelling at the various gauntlet participants. And then he keeps them backstage. Nash comes out, and it basically turns into a gauntlet match where he sends the heels out, the Filthy Animals and stuff like that. But you got to throw them over the top rope. So it's a Battle Royal gauntlet match. And then Goldberg shows... God, I fucking hate this goddamn show. Hate it so much. Goldberg shows up with like a minute left. By the way, this match actually started with about 4 minutes left. A gauntlet Battle Royal style match started with 4 minutes left in the show. Goldberg shows up with about a minute and a half left. And then gets in the ring, lays out Nash, and then goes to the corner. Because, he goes to the corner and gets distracted by the Misfits in action. And then goes, through the ropes to get to the outside. instead of going over the top rope. And then Nash hits him with the worst big boot ever and then knocks him down. And he wins the gauntlet or the battle royal or whatever. It was a big boot from a guy that went through the ropes. WCW 2000, everybody. Fucking hate it. Absolutely. Oh, I still have so many more months of this shit to watch. Thanks, guys, by the way, for watching. No, I really do appreciate it. But, yeah, that's it. That's it for Nitro. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.